Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's TheSketchMonkey here. I'm back at Empire Lakewood Nissan just outside of Denver because we're gonna have a look at this beauty today, this Baja Nissan Pathfinder Platinum. So what we're gonna do, you know the drill by now. We're gonna have a look at the front end, side, rear. We're gonna talk about the interior, and then last but not least, we're gonna take this for a drive. Huge thanks to Empire Lakewood Nissan again for providing this Pathfinder Platinum for me to review for you guys today. Go and check out this Platinum and their full inventory in the link in the description. Let's start with the overall feel and vibe that you get from the Pathfinder. To me, compared to smaller SUV, this gives a more stately look thanks to a lot of horizontal and vertical and sharp corners like we have here, for example. I like this design. I think it suits the overall philosophy of this SUV, but there are a couple of details in the front end that are pretty interesting. For example, let's start with this big headlight that we have here. This is the actual headlight down here, and we have the daytime running lights up there. And does that remind you of some brand that is doing something similar right now? But it looks maybe a little better integrated here, and that is BMW. I'm talking about BMW, obviously, specifically the XM, for example. I like the design of the XM, but the headlights are tinted there, so it looks like the daytime running lights on the XM are actually the headlights. Here, they're morphed together, so they're connected with this piece, and this is still the same layout that we have in the BMWs with almost, I don't know if we can call this a bumper headlight, because it actually sits pretty much in the bumper of this car, and then you have the daytime run lights upstairs. And then we have this line down here, which looks interesting as well, because it looks like it's supposed to house some sort of intake here. Well, this is just a styling line that goes in and creates a very nice chamfer down here at the bottom. But when we look at the grille design, that's where the interesting things happen. You have an opening down here. Half of the grille, this part, is open. At the top part it's closed, and at the very top you have a different kind of bar here design that we have in the other four down here. So this has these three slots in it, which I think looks good because it marks the starting point of the graphics going down on the front end. I was trying to find some fog lights on this front end, but I can't find it. They're probably integrated in the headlights maybe, because all of the lighting is just inside of this portion of the front end. There is no lighting at the bottom. You have this plastic sort of skid plate looking thing, and you have the parking sensors integrated in this piece as well. Let's have a look at the side view of this Pathfinder Platinum. We have 20-inch wheels, 255 millimeters all around. And looking at the line flow here, this area is extremely smooth. What I like about this design is that we have one sharp angle right here above the front axle, and then it becomes smooth, very smooth ocean here, and then it comes into another sharp line right here. And I love how these fenders are then integrated, kind of the surfacing is very smooth into the rest of the body. And we have the plastic cladding all around the wheels. And at the bottom, one thing that I would like to change here is this chrome piece that says Pathfinder on it. If you watched my videos before, you might know that I'm not a huge fan of chrome pieces. And if we have a Platinum Pathfinder like this, it kind of suits the Platinum trim to have a bit of chrome. But in any case, on any car, I'm starting to feel like chrome is a little outdated. And up top on the greenhouse, we still have the black piece here, like we have on the Altima as well, and this lower piece still being chrome. Another detail back here that I think the management said, okay, designers, you can have a little bit of fun, but don't go too crazy. That is this piece right here. This is also very typical for Nissan cars these days, to just cut the C-pillar in some way with some black trim, and we have that here as well, as you can see. And one thing about these roof rails, if you look at them from a side view like this, it feels to me maybe they're sitting a little too far back. I'm not sure if it's just me or if it's just how it's supposed to be, but I would like to have them extend to this point somewhere here. But the problem then, I guess, is gonna have that it's gonna block some of the sunroof for the passenger and the driver, and I think they don't want to do that, so that's why they moved it backwards a little bit. But overall, the proportions of this car look really cool. It has a stately feel to it. You have the black trim underneath the mirror here with the indicator inside of the side mirrors looking really clean. One detail in the back here that I love from a side view that really reminds you of the Nissan Z is this treatment, this little triangle here. We're gonna have a closer look at this. when I look at the rear view. But this reminds me of the Z treatment in the front end of the bumper of the Z. And I also love how this line really symbolizes the end point of the side, and then it corners into the rear. I think it's a beautiful line, this little touch. So coming around to the rear end of the Nissan Pathfinder, this is going to be my favorite view. Again, I know I'm a fan of 3/4 rear views, and that goes for the Pathfinder as well. Couple of things that I would like to change here. First of all, the wiper. Move this wiper up here and hide it so it doesn't stick out like this right in the middle of an otherwise very clean integration of the rear window. I also like that they made this black. So Nissan had the opportunity here to go with the trend of the decade, which would be to create a light bar going across the entire width of the car. Maybe have the Nissan logo be a kind of separation of like having a complete light bar, but they could have extended this all the way to this point, but instead they decided to, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to take it easy on the lights in the rear and just have this be black. A couple of lines in the back that I really like is, for example, this line here, down here right above the handle for the trunk. This then bends and goes into the very corner of the taillight in this section. I like that integration. And here you can clearly see, now that you have the shadow on it, you can clearly see this integration I was talking about. Reminds me a lot of the Nissan Z. If you take this area and put it in the front and lower bumper of a Nissan Z, you're gonna have the exact same shape. And this part, this is a part that in silver looks pretty decent, but what I would like to do is to turn this into black. I think black would look a lot better on the rear end of the Pathfinder, as well as black out these Pathfinder letters that we have on the back. Even though it is the Platinum, I know people that buy Platinum, the top level, they kind of want a little chrome maybe, but I would definitely black this out. Now, I always want to give designers credit where credit is due, and that's why I'm zooming in on these taillights, because I think it's such a simple design, but very effective design. It adds width to the rear end, and you can see this beautiful fender here, how it sticks out from the rest of the body, and then have this be the kind of line or edge between the greenhouse and the fender. I think it's a beautiful touch. Welcome to the interior of the 2023 Nissan Pathfinder Platinum, and just have a look at this gorgeous leather. I love the two-tone. We have some darker chocolatey brown and then some light brown the rest of the seat with this cross stitching in the middle. Absolutely beautiful. It says Pathfinder here. Nice touch. I don't see any chrome in here. We do have some silver pieces for the outside of the vent controls, but that's pretty much it. So that's one other reason why I would like to turn the outside chrome into some silver or either some matte black. What are we talking about when we talk about screens here? We have a 9-inch infotainment screen, we have a 12.3-inch infotainment screen, all digital, but I think it works really well for a reason that I'm pretty sure you know what I'm gonna say now. That is because this is nicely housed and the screen sits way inside the dash, and that's what I love. Even though it's sunny outside, it's all black and white. There's super high contrast on the screen. That's what I'm looking for in screens if you're gonna have digital gauge clusters. Down here, we still have physical buttons for everything you need. You have the vents being properly easy to use. They're right here in a square position with everything as you expect it to be. And down here, you have the controls for the climate control, which is very nice that I don't have to go into a mode or into the screen to software to do today, because it is very hot in this car right now, so we're having the AC blasting. In the middle, we have a big sturdy knob for the gear selector right here. Feels very nice in your hand. You have the parking button up top, and you have reverse, neutral, and drive, and you also have the manual mode with the paddle shifters that you have in a Pathfinder. Pretty cool. Here you have the parking brake button. You have 2 cup holders with a drink. This does not come with a car. This is my drink. You gotta remember to keep hydrated. And then you have the drive modes right here with this toggle. So we have a bunch of drive modes here. You have sand, mud, rut, you have snow, you have auto, you have eco, sport, and last but not least, if you're gonna hook up something in the rear, you wanna go in the tow mode right there. So it looks pretty cool. High definition screen, I like that. What I'm gonna do later on when we go for a drive is definitely keep it in sport, because I think that gives the most of what this car has to give to me, usually when you have it in sport mode. And down here you have a center console with a decent sized storage with some sort of compartment right here in the front. It takes up a little space. I'm sure this is just for smaller things. You can have that in the front and the bigger stuff right there in the middle. And we have a proper glove box, of course, with a shelf up here, rubberized shelf that says Pathfinder in there. Very nice touch, but look at this leather and look at the horizontal lines that we have going across the entire interior. It feels again like this exterior is morphed into the interior, and just by sitting in here I can tell what kind of car I'm sitting in on the outside. I know this is a larger sized SUV just by looking at the layout in here, and that is good design to me. We have a flat bottom steering wheel here as well with the paddles, but instead of a CVT that we have in the Altima, here we have a 9-speed automatic, and I'm thankful for that because it really improves the driving dynamics of this big SUV. Up top, we have a big panoramic roof that I'm gonna close right now. One detail on the sides here, I love how these vents are integrated with this aluminum brushed finish. Even though it is plastic, it looks very nice, and we have soft touch material all across this interior, and you have the same kind of pattern of this aluminum style going back into the door handles here. Gives it that rugged feel that you kind of want in an SUV like this. And of course, coming back to the screen, you can do whatever you want. You have the tachometer and the speedometer taking up very small space on each side of the screen. The center is fully customizable, and that's what you want to have. If you have a completely digital gauge cluster, you want to be able to configure it as you want, because everything is digital, so it's just pixels moving around. There's no physical stuff that you have to move around, so why not make it like this, being completely configurable like we have in the Pathfinder. Alrighty guys, we're setting off in the 2023 Nissan Pathfinder Platinum. 285 horsepower, 259 pound-feet of torque from a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 hooked up to 9-speed automatic. No CVT in this one. And I think we're actually in manual now. I wasn't even aware of it. So let's use the paddles, I guess. First impressions, I love the head-up display. It just shows me the speed, man. That's pretty much all I would ever want in a head-up display, and it's super clear as well. It feels like it's sitting a little bit too far to the right though, because if I tilt my head like this, now I can't see it anymore, so it kind of goes out of the frame pretty easily, but maybe there is a setting where you can adjust that. I'm not 100% sure. Overall, the ride comfort so far feels really good. So let's go out and see what this got, this V6. I forgot to talk about the integration of the infotainment screen here. I think it's pretty well integrated, to be honest. It's a lot better integrated in the Altima, where it's set on top. Here, at least it feels like it slots into the dash. So it does have a, wow. Sounds pretty good. And here we have a crazy Volvo just popping out of nowhere. Yeah, it sounds really good, this 3.5 liter V6. I really like the sound of it. The gears are surprisingly quick as well for what this is, a pretty big SUV. And it's relatively quick as well. I don't think you need it to be any quicker than this, unless you want a sports car performance, but that's not what this car is. So here's the deal with digital gauge clusters. I don't mind this at all. It's totally fine to have it completely digital, but look at how beautifully integrated it is. It feels like the designers had some fun and put some effort into making some nice textures and nice chamfers to integrate it, and also make it sit deep inside the dash so we don't have the glare. I can compare the glare right now from the screen right here, which sits right out in the middle, the infotainment screen. It's very hard to see what's going on here because of the sun, while the gauge cluster is completely crisp and clear. All right, so let's check the turning radius of this Pathfinder. No problems at all going into a 2-lane street. I actually turned into the tighter lane with no problems. Definitely drives well. It sounds good. It handles nice. Ride is super comfortable, and the paddle shifters are quick enough that it's fun to engage with them. The base MSRP for this is, I think it's around $50,000, and this just has a couple of options to it. For that price, for what you get, I think this is almost like an underdog, because the same thing with the Altima. I don't really see a lot of Pathfinders out on the streets. I could understand it with the Altima being a CVT and all of that, but with this one, this is a really good comfortable SUV, and I think for the price we should see more of them out on the streets. So we're at a red light and let's do one more quick pull here. Not bad, not bad. Big thanks again to Empire Lakewood Nissan right here in Denver. If you're in the market for a new Nissan and you live in the area, make sure you check them out. I'm gonna link their full inventory down in the description. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.